playing into it.
Parkside is a media arts college in Cambridge. At Key Stage 3, all children get practical experience of media production as part of a timetable that integrates English, media and drama.
You're ready to go? Where are you going to be filming?
In this programme, we follow a Year 8 class for a day and see how practical media production motivates the students, supports moving image work at Key Stage 3 and develops transferable skills of analysis and collaboration.
What you're seeing today is a compacting into one day of what would normally take several double lessons strung across maybe 3 or 4 weeks. I suppose that the structure is a little bit like a science lesson in that there's an element of theory, there's a demonstration and a modelling of process, and then children work on a practical experiment really and then reflect on the outcome.
Very scary ladies, look at So what we're doing is a bit of theory work this morning. They're looking at a sequence from Casualty and examining how tension's created through the editing, through the camera angles and shot types. Moving on to work in groups to look at storyboarding a sequence of their own. We're going to model an example in the classroom, filming a tense sequence using in-camera editing to create the tension. And this afternoon they're going to be working in their groups, roving about the school in the grounds here and filming a sequence for themselves. And we'll view these and review them this afternoon with some analytical writing too. In a second, you're going to hear the soundtrack to a scene from a sequence from Casualty. I'd like you to listen really carefully and just think about what you can hear.
Come on, mate, don't be such a wimp. Get on with it. Hold on. I can't watch.
Maybe they could have been breaking into a house or something.
I think they're carrying a dead body or an injured body.
I think it sort of sounds like one person's in control of the situation and another person's being intimidated.
These are the pictures that go with the sounds you just heard. There are 13 shots in the sequence. See if you can arrange these into an order that makes sense.
This is probably near the beginning because it's him climbing. Climb his foot. That could go right there. I don't know.
Do you want to watch the sequence and see if what you've got is the same as what's up there? Yeah. Okay. Is what you've got the same as what you saw up there or different? Where are the differences?
We got it very wrong. Although it would have worked like this, I think.
In our group, we thought that when the man slips, it was like nearer to the end.
We got bits right in places, but we mixed most of it up.
Why do you think they've chosen this camera shot?
It's like creating suspense. If it was just a long shot, then it wouldn't be as tense because you wouldn't see the foot slipping.
Okay, so you've got 2 feet slipping one after the other. What kinds of shot are they?
Almost extreme close-up.
Almost an extreme close-up. Could you pick 4 shots that you find particularly interesting, fill in the left-hand box to say what kind of shot they are, and then fill in the right-hand box to say why they're in there, what purpose they have, okay?
It's a high-angle point-of-view shot from the point of view of the climber.
Excellent. And what does it show us?
It kind of exaggerates his height.
It's an extreme close-up of his face, and it shows you all like his facial expressions and how he's scared.
A lot of these resources are tried and tested, and they're ones that we have as schemes of work as a department. I'm a fairly new teacher here. I've been teaching here for 2 years now, and I hadn't taught media before I came to Parkside. But my experience of it here gives me the confidence to not only teach these lessons, which have been modelled by other members of staff and are from existing courses, but also to work on my own courses in media and in English, which involve using a lot of the same technology. I'd like you to watch this example carefully. This is last year's Year 8, so they're Year 9 now. You probably know these faces. Think about how this little sequence follows the ideas of hospital drama sequences, where it's building up tension, OK?
Robert, will you please stop rocking your chair?
Tragedy. OK. We're going to have a go at doing this for ourselves in this classroom. We're going to think about an idea for a sequence that we can film in this room using a video camera. We're going to set it up in here, rehearse it, and then film it. George has just been told off, let's say, for having the elastic band. How can we create a little bit of tension across the classroom between these two here?
You could show a close-up of the eyes and it could show the anger building up.
Fantastic. We can have the build-up of anger in George's eyes. So there's George's face. He's looking very cross. Is that an extreme close-up at the moment? No, it's not, because Miss Ball's drawing is terrible. We're going to make George's face even bigger. So now we've got a sequence sorted out, we need to start rehearsing. Okay, I need a director. This is the kind of camera you're going to be using. It's fixed to a tripod at the moment, okay? And if I switch the board onto video, we can have a little look at all you lovely people. Yeah, there you are. Okay, we've got up here the zoom button. Okay, there's a little W and a T. Okay, the W is like a wide shot and the T is to tighten it up so you can adjust the zoom. Here, let's have a little rehearsal. Have your hand on the desk. Beautiful.
Why can't you film the seventh one now?
Because we're not going to change the order of it. It's going to be all within the videotape. So what we do now is going to be on the film and we're going to play that through. So how long do we want this one to be? The last one was 5 seconds. What do you think for this one?
About 3 seconds.
About 3 seconds. Okay, so you say 3, 2, 1 and then you say cut at the end as well.
And I say cut.
George, put that away. And
3, 2, 1. Go.
Cut.
3, 2, 1, go.
George, no! It's a nice, easy procedure and they're being taught through it by me as they're doing it as well. And the advantage of having the whiteboard in this situation is that you can use it as a shared viewfinder so that whatever the camera's picking up, the whole class can see and they can come to a decision about what kind of shots to use, if they want the zoom to be a bit tighter, if they want to move a bit further away, the left or the right, which is great because as a process they're working on that editing together and they're all directing the film. What you're going to do now is work in a group, okay? And it's going to be the same sort of principle. What we're going to do first though is take a look at some sequences made by groups recently. These are from last year.
There's Clara there.
Okay.
Oh, come on, Harry. Put some strain into it.
Think about how the camera shots are used here to build anticipation. How do they create a sense of what will happen?
The way that it was like the tension was mounting, you kept like looking back down as if to think, oh, it's getting higher and higher.
Was there anything that you spotted that perhaps could have been done differently?
When he says, I dare you to climb up there, he just goes, okay. And it's just like, he could at least just say, oh, wow, I don't really want to, and then do it.
So there could have been a difference in the script to build up the tension a bit more. Excellent. Watch this carefully, please, and think about what is effective about the camera work here, and also think about how long each shot is. We know in our version the shots were a bit too short. Well, it's a really nice little sequence.
It looked real.
It looked real, and that was important to you.
They used a crash mat and it actually looked like they fell instead of just a fake fall.
You've got to make sure that what you're doing is short and simple. I would like you to take the next 7 minutes in your groups to decide exactly what you're going to do and to start storyboarding it.
When they open the door, the unconscious person falls out, and then he suddenly just knocks him out. The murderer pretends to be the person who called the ambulance.
You're making this like a horror scene.
Yeah.
A horror drama now. It's meant to be a hospital drama.
What we used to do before we started this in-camera editing project was children would storyboard a sequence. One of the things that I've become convinced by since we turn storyboarding into something that they do in 5 minutes and then film, is just how much more secure the learning about camera technique and the learning about editing is, and the learning about the grammar of moving images is, when they actually have to do it with a camera, editing camera, get it right.
The modelling process is absolutely key to them being able to then go off with the video cameras and do it themselves. And because we've done this as a whole class, and the entire class has been in here and been contributing and been watching, I'm very happy for them to go away as a small group now and try and recreate that for themselves. I think that this setup is what gives me as a teacher the confidence to let them go off about the school and do it for themselves. They've seen the process and they know what they need to do. I'm going to give each group of you a little laminated card with some instructions on. These are things that I've talked through with you, but it's just so that you've got a reminder of what to do. You're going to need to label your tape very carefully so that it's clearly your group's tape.
When they take the cameras out in small groups, the pressures on them are enormous. I mean, it is a difficult thing to do, and that's part of it. And the children are prepared for things to go wrong and are often surprisingly happy with what they produce, even when there are glitches and the timing's out, because they appreciate how difficult the process is. I think allowing children to go out with a camera and to be fairly autonomous is something which varies so much from school to school. I think we're lucky at Parkside that there is a culture which doesn't just allow but encourages that kind of development of children's autonomy, and where the risks associated with it are accepted as essential to the learning.
They've learnt an awful lot about continuity and about how to put a sequence together. But I think in terms of teamwork, it's been really valuable too. They've learnt how to communicate with each other very specifically and very succinctly about what needs to be done when, which is a great skill. What we're going to do now is review a couple of the films that we've done.
Why did you tell? Yeah. Go away! Go. Ellen!
Watch out for this. This is very nice, the next shot. Very scary ladies. Look at those.
We just organised at the beginning that 2 people were going to doing the acting, and 1 person was the director and 1 person was doing the filming.
We thought we would all be the director, but that really didn't work because we all had different ideas.
Nice over the shoulder shot there, guys. Well done. Now, they choreographed this quite well, actually, and it looks nice. Perhaps you could have zoomed in a bit closer, maybe, Hugo, with this bit, to sort of focus on the action. But where they're rolling about a lot, it's quite difficult to keep them in shot. So you're moving, you're panning to the left there. It's a lovely shot.
Hurry up, Danielle, we're going to be late.
Vivian, slow down. We've got 5 minutes to the next lesson.
What? Ah!
We used a lot of light and created tension by putting the caution thing there.
So this is thinking about what you've achieved today, thinking about the film that you've made, and producing some evaluative writing on that. They've learned on a technical level how to use those video cameras, which is great because there'll be projects later on in Year 9 as they move up through the school where they're using them again. And if they go on to do media studies in Year 10, it will be very useful for them. And I was very pleased to see that in the afternoon when they came back after watching the films, they sat down to work very quietly and quite diligently on the evaluation piece. So I think that they were ready to have a written reflection on what they'd done during the day, and I was really happy about that sort of positive atmosphere towards the end where they were just happily sitting and writing about what they'd done.
You can download resources and lesson plans from www.teachers.tv.